A philosopher for a grey day down by the Pyrenees. And first of all, I better apologise to him. Sorry, Bishop Berkeley, I haven't reread your book. I was never sure you reread it either. So this is my memory of what you say and why I often think of it. Berkeley, writing in the beginning of the 18th century, about contemporary almost with Leibniz, but a lot younger, writes one book, only one, and that's it. Philosophical Investigations, I think. In that book, he makes a claim that is actually startling in philosophy. He says, essence lies in perception alone. The reality of the thing, then, lies not in the thing, but in the way we perceive the thing. He therefore pushes one of those great tropes, one of those great lines of philosophy, to its illogical conclusion. The only reality is that is conjured in my mind. Now, for Berkeley, reducing the world to my idea, it reduces it to a relationship with God. I am in the middle of another, and that other is God's mind, God's creation. And I ultimately will be judged, for Berkeley, by that God, by how I behave to the world that is conjured like fire in my mind. Now, these days we might worry about the judgment bit. But for me, it matters. Because Berkeley is saying, you are judged through how you respond to your relationship with an outside that you can never truly comprehend. You can't truly grasp. You know it only as it is given to you. And yet, you must relate to it as if it was true. You must not assert an ownership of it just because it lies in your mind. Because that power that is conjuring it in you, be it nature or be it God, will in the end react to you by how you respond to this, the most intimate of your ideas. Okay, all right, fine, but a bit abstract. Let me give you what that means to me. One of the features of our world is how easy it is to divide ethical and moral reality. It is one of the great figures of religion. It's there in Wuthering Heights, Joseph, if you care to read, and all through George Eliot, is that it is terribly easy to be a moralist who is unethical. You get it, I'm sorry to say, in the Christian right in America, but also in England all the time. All these people who espouse high morality climb upon their pulpits, preach the power and pattern of God, the big things, the big moral precepts, and yet in their personal life are thoroughly unethical. Veritable scoundrels who screw you over or commit child abuse. God's teeth, America's even elected one. And Farage is no the same. Ethically, he's immoral. He's totally unethical, even if he espouses some kind of morality, I guess. It's a terribly easy mindset to be in. And you can easily convince people of its power and truth. All you have to do is talk about redemption and then not redeem yourself and you're done. And the world is full of them. You can all think of those who claim to be being redeemed. And then there is the other trope. It is also much easier, and personally I really love them, to be a scoundrel, but be a thoroughly ethical scoundrel. To be then on the big patterns immoral, to not even believe in morality, but in your personal ethics and in your day-to-day life, to be an absolute love. Some of my best friends in all the world are, to be frank, con people, robbers. And yet they're so generous and so kind and so good that I certainly could never condemn them. I would describe them as always on the side of good. So these are two easy realities. But Berkeley is urging you to ignore these two possibilities. Because if essence lies in perception alone, then morality lies in ethics. It is in your day-to-day action with the world that actually your morality is revealed. You can't espouse being good and not be good. You can't talk of, I will redeem, I will repent, and then not repent. It is your actions, and not just your actions in the future, but all the actions that you have done and the way you have responded to them, in which you are made, through which your personality is formed. Now, you don't need to be a Christian or at all religious to understand this as a relationship with nature. We might not ever be able to truly grasp nature beyond the beauty that we see, beyond as it exists in us. But just because it exists in us, just because it is our idea, does not mean that if we despoil it utterly, mine it totally, treat it as if it was just our plaything or land to colonize, there will be no retribution. Because somewhere hidden in the silence is the power that does the revealing. And Berkeley reminds us, what if you destroy that power, you irritate that power? What if the actions you do to the things you see in your mind unpick the very forces of nature that allow you to exist? And all you saying, well, I couldn't see them, they didn't exist in my mind, I don't care, that won't matter a blind jot. Because you behaved unethically, on a bigger level, you are also immoral. The two go together. Be ethical to the world, because that is the only way you can understand its hidden morality. You could say Berkeley is the first thinker to say, think global, but act local, kind of. Act ethical, but think moral. Because in a world where you can never quite grasp it beyond as it is given to you, but you know there is something beyond, something conjuring something in your mind, there is no other course you can take. No other course that's safe for you or the world. Ethics and morality run together. And any politics that confuses them, any religion that allows you to make acts that are moral while yourself being unethical. For Berkeley, and I would argue for our safety, isn't worth a brass fart.